With many people having more free time and trying new things during the pandemic, an instrument is one of them, especially the piano. And we have a very special treat, a legendary musician and keyboardist, pianist, just a genius. Mike Garson is talking to us about learning at any age. First of all, I just want to say thank you for talking with us today.
It's my pleasure.
It's so wonderful to meet you. We first have to talk about your career. It spans decades, and most of your career has been spent with the legend David Bowie.
I didn't know how that happened because I was a classical and jazz pianist, and one day in 1972 he called me, and I was hired for 8 weeks, and I ended up to be the longest standing member, doing 20 albums and 1,000 concerts with him. So go figure.
Well, you talk about, being a classical pianist, but isn't David Bowie's kind of known for changing it up a bit, and that's what he's done on most of his albums.
I was sort of like him in that I'm chameleon-like, and I was always changing my music from fusion to pop to rock to jazz, and he liked that. And in the first 2 years, from 72 to 74, with those albums like Aladdin Sane and Diamond Dogs and Young Americans, he kept changing styles. And in actual fact, he fired 5 different bands in the first 2 years, and I was the only one that remained because I could change styles with him. So it just was sort of kind of a lucky thing, because that's how I had spent my life before I met him, just loving music and digging into anything I could get my hands on.
When I think about your work, the song that stands out to me is Aladdin Sane. What was that like recording it? Because I think I read that it was in one take.
It was one take, and I never even heard the track for maybe 10 years, just because it was, for me, another day in the studio. I didn't understand who David Bowie was, and there's this great Renaissance person that I was working with, because I was living in the jazz world. So unlike most people I meet who he was the soundtrack of their life, he wasn't that for me. So I'm still learning about him, and it's 5 years since his passing.
I mean, you've sort of been asked by other jazz musicians to be a part of their experience, and you said no to them, but David Bowie, you did not.
Yeah, I got called the same night to work with Woody Herman, which was a very famous big band back in the day, and something about David Bowie was intriguing to me. On the first Ziggy Stardust tour, believe it or not, I was actually able to go into the audience, because I didn't play on every song, and watch the show. And I thought to myself, something is special about this guy.
Yeah. Are you constantly creating music?
I'm always composing. I've written over 6,000 pieces of music. I'm sitting at the piano now, and I wouldn't know there was a virus if my wife didn't tell me, because I'm up here 10, 15 hours every day, just composing, arranging, creating.
Right, that's your office right there. Let's talk about, because today is just a crazy time. For nearly a year, some people have been in their homes, and music making and listening to music just seems particularly important right now. Talk about that.
To me, it's not a cure for everything, obviously, but it has always been my savior, the music, since I was 7 years old. And I could be in any frame of mind, depressed, happy, sad, joyful, and I go up and I make music, and I go into even a higher state from wherever I was. If I'm joyful, I'm more joyful. If I was a little down, it brings me up. And I think it has a healing aspect to it. And I just wish everybody would play an instrument from when they were 2 years old, and I think we'd have less war. It's an oversimplification, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, music, I just think it's about connecting with people that normally you wouldn't connect with. You talk about the psychological benefits of it. What about the spiritual benefits of playing the piano?
It's hard for me to even put it in words, but it connects you to all that is, which might be a synonym for God, or the kingdom of heaven is within us. It's a gift that we should take advantage of. I believe everybody should work on music. I found this app called Playground Sessions a few years ago, and I started working with it with my grandchildren. And it was so helpful in teaching them how to play, because I've been teaching my whole life, but I wasn't great with young kids. And I saw that the program really worked. It was very simple. It has tracks. You play along with it. I saw on television a year or two ago Jimmy Fallon learning it. Quincy Jones is one of the founders. Harry Connick Jr. Does some teaching on it. So it lays it out with teachers on the app in such a simple way, and all you need is a computer and a keyboard that just plugs into it, or you can get a keyboard that comes with the program. I think it's called playgroundsessions.com. That's the site. But it's just another tool for somebody who wants to get into music but has, say, fears connected with it, because music causes alarm in people when they think they have to learn how to play. And this program sort of takes the fear, and it makes it like a game and very joyful. So,
and you say it's never too late, right? You don't have to be 7 to learn.
My oldest student was 84,
wow,
and my youngest was 2. So I just believe anytime that someone feels the urge for it, one should play music. I'm just a very big believer in that,
So can you learn how to play? I mean, what if you don't have a piano?
Well, with the Playground Sessions, what happens, that app, you just need a keyboard that could plug into the computer, or you can buy that with the program. They sell a keyboard that comes with it. So that's all you really need, and you're off and running.
So anyone can learn how to play the piano, but not everyone can play the piano like you. There's magic in that, right?
Well, there's 2 aspects. You can be a student of an instrument, and depending on how much time and your natural gift, and if it's your purpose, is going to depend on how great you get. But people can just enjoy it, just the simplicity of playing songs. You could play along with Elton John with that program, or Billy Joel, or whoever that you love, Beyonce, and that brings joy. If you get very serious and you're willing to put in the hard work, and it's part of your journey and your purpose, you could become great, You
were talking about you're constantly creating, and you spend a lot of time in that office. Do you think that you could play something for us? I wouldn't even know what to ask you to play.
How about if I just create something on the spot?
Please. Okay. I would love that. Absolutely beautiful. You just came up with that right now?
Half of it, and half of it was a piece that I wrote about 40 years ago called Reflections. So it sort of came to me as I was playing, so I mixed the improvisation with a written piece.
That is absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much for treating us with that. Okay, so Playground Sessions is the app, and what you say, it's never too late to learn the piano, and there are some great benefits to learning an instrument, especially during the pandemic. You are such an inspiration, and it's been such a treat talking with you today.
It's been a pleasure. I think it won't steer you wrong. Just go to the site playgroundsessions.com, and if it resonates, play along with it and fool around with it. And if it doesn't, go on to something else, whatever makes a person happy. In these times, we need to have something on the aesthetic and spiritual levels to sort of pull us out of the conditions of the planet. And if you're focusing all the time on the politics, you could get sucked into it. And if you're focusing on the music, you'll be sucked into that. So I think it's a nice balance to really delve into that.
Excellent point. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.